Richo, is the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing but expect a different result? And if so, what is the evidence inside the Labor Party that recommitting to an even bigger version of what failed at 16 and 19 will save them in 22?
You don't understand faith, do you?
I know it doesn't require a lot of evidence.
That's all I can say is you don't understand faith. And Labor has faith in this.
Oh, well then we'll pack it away. So the CSIRO thing, I can just shred this? $1 trillion bucks, who cares?
Faith triumphs here.
Rowan, fair income. I mean, honestly, they haven't just doubled down, they have quadrupled down the vagaries. And in that interview with David, right? And look, you know, David has done a great job of bashing up plenty of libs across the way. No doubt he'll do the same again over his tenure at the ABC. But Albo sat there and accepted $660 billion from the BCA. He accepted $1 trillion from the CSIRO. He accepted that it was going to be economy-wide. Yet the argument that he's putting out there today as to, well, why we do it is exactly the same as Shorten's. Once again, this is what he said to Kieran Gilbert this afternoon.
We have 73 countries have set a target of net zero emissions by 2050. Every single state and territory has set the same target, including the governments of Gladys Berejiklian in New South Wales, Stephen Marshall in South Australia. Last time I looked, any business or activity in Australia will take place in one of those states or territories. And the fact is as well that the Business Council of Australia, BHP, Santos, Qantas, Telstra, all of these companies have all set a net zero emissions by 2050.
So just lie back and take it because we're all getting screwed?
Listen, Albo has completely destroyed any credibility that he may have had. You just heard it now from Graham Richardson. All someone like Richo has now is faith that they know what they're doing, which clearly they don't. You were right, Paul, that it's a 100% cuts. That's what they're talking about.
Yes, so stop this net zero. That's the nice twist,
yeah.
Correct.
Talking about 100% cuts to emissions. So that means you look out that window, everything is dark. Everything is gone. No planes in the sky, no ships on the sea, no cattle in the fields. They're basically asking people to return to the dark ages, to the Stone Age. You cannot seriously do this without a plan. Now, sure, if you went, for example, and said, well, if we switched gradually to nuclear power, for example, well, yes, you probably would be able to do it, but they won't do that. And if you can't offer up any way in which you're able to get, and this is the point David Spears was getting to, how are you going to do it, other than saying, well, we don't really care, someone else can look after that deal. We're talking about the government of this country. We're talking about the potential Prime Minister of this country committing the children who are now at school to have net zero jobs when they leave school, net zero hospitals when they're having children. This is so irresponsible. It's so disgusting for a potential leader of this country to be fooling the people out there that there is a way to achieve this. By all means, if you have the means, tell us, but don't lie like Shorten did. Remember that brilliant interview with the guy who said, just tell us what it's going to cost.
Correct.
That's what the Australian people want to know, and they're not hearing it.
Well, this is the thing, Jenna, where what was amazing was to see the reaction to that interview yesterday and to see some of the follow-up today, where there seems to be a deliberate lack of curiosity to try to tie him to any number. Instead, keep it vague, keep it nebulous. It's a bigger target than the bad boy Liberals. But the truth is, to everyone watching, and the four of us as well, there is a financial cost to each individual. If you don't have the balls to turn around and say, look, guys, we are so far in the hole, the planet is in real trouble, this is the tax, for want of a better term, you have to pay. Well, Australians have shown we'll pay a higher Medicare levy to pay for the NDIS because we understand what the trade-off is. Australians will pay for a flood levy because we understand what that's for. But I'm sorry, I don't see any evidence in any polling at any time, apart, and look, you can give me Australia Institute garbage or rubbish from The Guardian, but anything that has a serious record that shows 51% of Australians being willing to pay more, and pay more for the next 30 years.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with the fact that they can't just come out with a number now and really plant the seed in our heads to be like, this is how much you're going to pay. I just feel this whole climate change debate, especially around Albo and the Labor Party, is kind of like the political equivalent of using prayer as birth control. Like, you don't know, you could run the risk of getting pregnant and you're getting lumbered with something that you don't want to take to an election in a couple of years. But then again, the risk on the other side is that 49% is that you may not, but you have to take it to the election. So the fact that they're being quite vague around it still would be quite concerning with people that just want to know a number and how much they're going to be slugged the next time they have to go to the election.
Well, instead...
Don't mock the power of prayer.
Correct. Because I love you.
Did it work for you, Richard? The old praying...
It's always worked for me, mate. Yeah.
Look, I've been around this man for a long time. You have to... The words he's not saying are the ones that are always the one worth paying attention to, all right, here. Now,